For the majority of the time that we've been living in a van, we have been travelling through the Americas in much warmer climates. Right now we are in the Arctic Circle and we are going to be sharing with you some of the discoveries we've learned about living in a van in cold weather. That's all coming up.
And van life in cold climate is really hard. Like, it is more challenging than we ever thought it was going to be, and we've learned a few things so far, haven't we, to keep us warm.
Number one, our van doesn't have any insulation. As you can probably see if you've watched any of our videos, we have a 360-degree view. All of our windows are on the sides. There's no parts of the van that have panels where we could have put insulation, so that's a big heat loss right there. There's also no insulation up here, and I didn't bother putting any above the wood because I was in Chile and Central America and Mexico, and so insulation would be the first recommendation if you're going to spend any amount of time in your van in the winter.
Yeah.
That's a big must. Also, hot drinks.
Yes, getting something that can hold hot drinks. Like, before we had these, we just had normal mugs. Our morning coffee would be cold in like 2 seconds, so
Yes.
it wasn't enjoyable at all. But these things are a lifesaver. It's nice to have a warm mug in your hand when it's freezing.
A warm mug in your hand. Hot drinks will save your life. Have them often, plentiful, as many times a day as you can in a leak-free cup. That will also make cleaning up the Kombi or your van a lot easier too.
Also, it's important to have lots of clothes that are going to keep you warm too.
Layers, guys.
Layers, yes.
Be
I'm wearing
smart.
like 3 pairs of pants under here, 2 pairs of socks.
I've got insulated jeans on here. They've got cotton on the inside and they're padded between the denim and the cotton. They're amazing. Great shoes. These are Gore-Tex shoes. I only own 1 pair of shoes, so they are good shoes. Just make sure your equipment is good and up to the task, okay? Like, if you live in a van, you don't have a lot of space, so you don't have the opportunity to have lots of clothes, so you have to have lots of good clothes. Like, the clothes that you have to be, you know, performance clothes, base layers, mid layers, little micro fleeces, and then
And a good jacket.
a good jacket, something like this. This is my triple fat goose jacket. Honestly, if you live in a cold climate, get something like this because it will save your life. Probably literally if you break down like we do.
Even the dog's got a coat. Even Alaska needs a coat. She gets cold at night, even though she's got thick fur, but this saves her.
Yeah, Alaska sleeps in the front, and with the coat she's fine, but if it's a particularly cold night, we get her in the back with us, and that kind of doubles up as a hot water bottle. Speaking of which...
Hot water bottles are a saviour at night time. They just keep your feet warm, and if your feet are warm, your whole body's warm. So, like, having a hot water bottle at the end of your bed really keeps you warm and toasty throughout the night.
What about bathing, Leah?
Bathing is one of the hardest things about van life in winter. I think it's the most difficult. When it's cold, it is really hard to get the motivation to jump in there and quickly wash and jump out. But
Man, it makes you feel alive though, doesn't it?
it does. But sometimes it's way too cold to do that and you will get sick.
If you don't fancy jumping in a river, baby wipes, it seems like an obvious thing to say. Well, these are great to keep yourselves clean in between the river baths or in between your solar shower, but one important note to make: don't just buy the normal baby wipes that, you know, make you feel all soft and make you smell nice. Get the ones that are antibacterial because they'll actually get you clean. So if you're living outside and you do have to shower when it's cold, get in the river as quickly as you can. Prepare everything before you go in. We have our Mr. Buddy heating the place for us. We are ready to get in and make a cup of tea. Lock that in. We're going to be in the water for 2 seconds because it's flipping freezing. Got the soap. Let's do this. We have a bit of a routine. We prepare the van before we go in. Like, if we're going to shower and then go to bed, we have the bed made. Or if we're going to shower and then come in, we have, like, you know, the hot drinks made already, like a nice cup of tea. Can't be a nice cup of tea. And we have our Mr. Buddy heater. That has been a lifesaver. A couple of downsides of having the Mr. Buddy heater. Is it safe? Some of you might be wondering because of carbon monoxide. If we're in here for a long time, we will crack a window, but we also have a carbon monoxide detector that we'll have on if we've got the heater running for a while. The Mr. Buddy heater is such a clean burning flame that it burns, you know, almost all of the gas, so there's like a very low chance of having carbon monoxide. But just in case, we have the carbon monoxide detector as well. What's your favourite thing about the Mr. Buddy heater?
Oh, we discovered that you can cook s'mores on the Mr. Buddy heater.
Another great reason to have it.
Yeah.
Cooking s'mores in your van.
So when it's raining outside and you can't make a fire and it's just too cold, we found other means to make our favourite snack.
S'mores! Another disadvantage of having the gas heater is that it does produce a lot of condensation. Gas is what is known as a wet heat, as opposed to logs, which is a dry heat. If you are cooking, especially if you're cooking something with water, where you're boiling water, pasta or rice or whatever, or you have the Mr. Buddy heater on for a while, you will get condensation in your van. That's not a good thing. Believe me, that's not a good thing. We find in the morning as well, we always sleep with the windows cracked a bit to help with the ventilation, to help with the condensation. But in the morning there is always condensation on the roof when it's really cold, or if it's been raining a lot outside and there's a lot of humidity in the air. So we recommend that you clean that condensation with a moisture absorbing rag as soon as possible in the morning. You have to do that, because if you leave the condensation on the roof and it builds up inside the cupboards, it can cause damage. We've actually gone through 3 different inverters on this trip just because of condensation getting in them, and then they don't work anymore. So even one time it was raining so hard for 4 days in Belize, and every single item of clothing had mold growing on it. So we had to wash all of our clothes and hang them up at an Amish church. They were really nice people.
And also a good tip, which we don't have, but you can also get those mold absorbers, not moisture absorbers, which you can get at supermarkets, and they're good to just have 1 or 2 in your van. Or
guys, we'd like to know if you have a solution on your boat or in your van or in your RV or anywhere when you've had condensation. We'd like to know how you've kind of resolved the problem, because I think it's something that a lot of people in this kind of environment face. So please let me know in the comments below how you're dealing with condensation in your van, vehicle, boat, camping tent. Just wanted to mention also about the solar up here in the Arctic. It's light now. I know you think like, why are they making this in the middle of the day and why are they cold? It's actually late at night, and the sun doesn't go down here, so we have solar power all the time. That's a bonus. The only thing that I would say about if you have solar on your van and you're coming up to the Arctic or to high or low latitudes, then having a tiltable panel will make a world of difference. If you have a fridge or anything that is heavy consumer of your power, having that tilting ability on your solar panel will give you a lot more amp hours during the day. To keep warm in the bed, we're at a little bit of a disagreement here, because Leah wanted to spend like $200 on a really good, what do you call it?
Doona.
Doona, mate. It's a Doona.
Doona duvet, just a really nice thick winter blanket, but I wasn't allowed to.
$200, you bloody crazy. So we've gone for the option of having lots of blankets, layers to keep it in. It's probably not quite as comfortable as having a big blanket, but we can take some off if we get to a slightly warmer environment, or pile more on if we're somewhere like this in the Arctic Circle. I like layers.
You do, because you steal all the blankets.
You
wake up in the morning or halfway through the night and he's got all the blankets and there's like a big gap in
I don't know what she's talking about.
in the bed, and it's freezing. I wake up freezing.
The best #1 way to keep warm in the bed, guys, I think you already know this, body heat. You know what I'm talking about? I meant the dog, right? You knew I meant the dog. What were you thinking?
She's our little hot water bottle.
Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed watching the video and sharing some of our discoveries. This is a learning process for us, and I hope you can contribute in the comments below. We'd love to hear your thoughts and everything. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already. We share lots of overlanding, van life and adventure videos as we travel through the Americas and next through the world. So please join us for that adventure.
And to all you guys that are already doing winter camping and camping throughout the cold conditions, you guys are hardcore. I don't know who's respect. I couldn't do this.
You get our respect.
Guys, if this was really interesting and you want to know more about van life, we've put together a book where it's just basically everything that we have learned over the past 5 or so years living in a van. So if you're interested, go check that out.
Yes, you will not regret it. Tune in next time for more travel adventures and van life stuff, and just, you know, generally entertaining and inspirational stuff from our lives on the road. Of course, our #1 tip for surviving the cold in a vehicle is to get that vehicle to a warmer place. That is the best thing about having wheels attached to your tiny home. If you want to see what it was like for us when we went to Mexico for the winter, check out our travel series above, or for more van life content, that'll be the video on the right. Thanks again for watching.